If you're sitting there staring at your shop dashboard and it's been quiet, too quiet, I know that this thought has gone through most business owners' minds. This little voice in your head is saying, should I run a sale? Maybe if I just drop the price by 20%, people will buy. When sales are slow, I get that panic mode starts to kick in. You start questioning everything. Is it my products, my pricing? And worst of all, you start questioning if you're enough. And in that moment of doubt, slashing prices feels like the quickest way to prove to yourself that people still want what you're making. But the panic discount can actually make things worse. Not always, but definitely when it's done without thought or strategy. So today I want to walk you through why this is, when discounts actually do make sense, and what you can do instead when sales are slow that won't leave you burnt out, undervalued, or barely breaking even. So if you've ever felt in the pit of your stomach when you haven't made a sale in a while, or you've rushed to put a discount out there just to feel like you're doing something, then this episode is for you. I'm Meg. I've grown a YouTube community of over 55,000 creatives, built a thriving illustration business with thousands of shop sales. I now coach other creatives, and this channel is where I share the practical advice, mindset shifts, and honest lessons that help you build a business that actually works for you. So let me tell you about a time that I got this really wrong. A little while ago, I was selling print-on-demand products, things like tote bags, mugs, shirts, hoodies, that kind of thing. And I loved the design I was creating. I was really proud of them. But one month, sales just stopped. Like, they completely dried up. And instead of sitting with that discomfort for a minute and figuring out what was going on, I panicked. I assumed it was the price. I thought, right, I need to move some stock. I need to see some orders come through. I'll just run a quick flash sale, 20% off everything, 24 hours, that'll get people buying. Now, here is where I messed up. I knew my profit margins were tight. I'd worked them out at some point, probably months before, but I hadn't revisited them in ages. I didn't sit down and do the maths before I put that sale on. I just thought 20% off sounds reasonable. People love a discount. So I put the sale live, and orders did come in, and I felt that sense of relief, thinking, okay, people still want my stuff. But then I looked at what I was actually making per sale. So after the discount, after the production costs, after the platform fees, I was making about £6 profit. And these weren't cheap items either. Like, customers were paying upwards of £40 for them, like even with the discount. So from the outside, it looked like a decent sale. But for me, I had just worked my butt off for like pocket money. And really, the issue wasn't the price. The issue was that I was no longer promoting them. And you might be thinking, yeah, but you made sales during the sale, so surely it is the price. But if you think about it, I did no promotion before the sale, then suddenly I was talking about them constantly. That's what drove the traffic to the products. And the worst part wasn't even the money, it was the feeling afterwards. I felt ashamed of myself. It's such a horrible feeling. You get all these sales and the number in your account like looks great, but as soon as you then pay the print-on-demand company, most of that money is gone. I mean, this could be a whole other topic for print-on-demand and the cons that come with that method. But this feeling happens when we price our products incorrectly too. If your product margins are tight before you run a sale, they're pretty much non-existent as soon as you start adding discounts on top. That's the panic discount spiral. You drop your prices out of fear, and then you make a few sales that don't actually move your business forward. Then you start wondering if you can ever charge full price again. So if you've been there, or if you're there right now, I just want you to know that you're not alone in this, and there is a better way. Let's talk about why reactive discounting, that feeling where you suddenly think, sales are slow, I'll drop my prices, and how that can actually hurt your business in the long run. The first issue is that it cheapens your product. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of perceived value. It's fine to run a sale a few times a year, but when you discount it too often or without a clear reason, your customers will start to wonder, is this actually worth the full price, or should I just wait until the next sale? And I'm not saying that you can never run a discount. We'll get to when it does make sense in a minute. But when you're doing it reactively, like it's coming out of a place of desperation rather than strategy, it sends a message that you don't truly believe in the value of what you're selling. And if you don't truly believe it, why should they? The second problem is that you're training your customers to wait. If someone sees that you run a sale every time things go quiet, they'll start holding off before purchasing. They'll just think, I like that, but I'll wait until a couple of weeks because there's probably going to be a sale. And suddenly you've created this cycle where you can't sell at full price anymore because your audience has been conditioned to expect a deal. It's a bit like those sofa companies that always have a discount on. I don't know anyone that has bought a sofa at full price. I've seen this happen with so many creative business owners. They start out charging their worth, then sales slow down, so they discount. Then they discount again and again until eventually their full price feels completely out of reach and they're stuck in this endless loop of devaluing their own work just to make sales. Most of the time, the reason sales are slow has nothing to do with your pricing. It's usually about visibility, clarity, or timing, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Discounting might feel like the fastest way to make a sale, but it's rarely the best way to build a sustainable business. But I don't want you to think that I'm saying you should never ever offer a discount, because there are absolutely times when it makes sense, but it has to be when it's strategic, intentional, and serves a clear purpose for your business. Let me walk you through a few scenarios where discounting can actually work in your favor. Number one is a strategic flash sale for a specific reason. This is different from panic discounting. A strategic flash sale has a clear goal and a clear reason behind it. Maybe you're launching a new product line and you want to reward your existing customers with early access and a small discount. Maybe you're celebrating a milestone like your business anniversary or hitting a follow count, and you want to do something special for your audience. The key here is that you're not discounting because you're desperate. You're discounting because you've chosen to as part of a bigger plan, and you're communicating that reason to your customers so that they understand it's a special moment and not just a random sale. Number two is seasonal stock clear outs. So if you've got physical products that are seasonal, like Christmas decorations, summer prints, or anything that's tied to a specific time of year, then an end of season sale makes total sense. You're clearing space for new inventory. Your customers get a deal on something they might still love, even if the peak season has passed. This is a great excuse to run a sale on a specific item or items instead of across your entire store. And because you're clearing space, it doesn't devalue your brand because you're upfront about why you're discounting. Number three is customer re-engagement. So let's say you've got an email list and you haven't sent anything out in a while. Maybe you've noticed that a chunk of your previous customers haven't bought from you in 6 months or more. A targeted discount just for them and not blasted all over social media can be a really smart way to reignite a relationship. You might send an email that says something like, I've missed you, here's 15% off as a thank you for being part of my community. It's personal and intentional, and it's not something that everybody gets. The exclusivity adds value rather than taking it away. So there are times when a discount can be a smart move, but do you notice the difference? In all of these examples, the discount has a purpose. It's not reactive or panic driven, and it's not becoming the default way you make sales. That's the distinction I want you to take away from this episode. So if discounting isn't always the answer, what can you do when sales are slow and you need to create some momentum? There are so many other ways to drive urgency and get people excited about buying from you without training them to wait for a sale or devaluing your work. Let me share a few of my favorites. Number one is limited runs. This one is brilliant, especially if you're a maker or you sell physical products. Instead of having everything available all of the time, you create limited runs. Maybe you only make 20 of a particular print or 10 of a specific bag, and once they're gone, they're gone. This creates natural urgency because people know they can't come back next month and grab it. And it also makes your products feel more special, more collectible. And it's not about false scarcity. It's just about being honest that you can't make everything all the time. And that actually makes what you do make feel more valuable. Number 2 is bundles. Bundles is such an underrated tool. Instead of dropping your prices, you add value. Maybe you've got a few products that pair really well together. Bundle them up. Give the bundle a name and offer it at a slight discount compared to buying each of the item individually. So instead of saying 20% off everything, you're saying, get the Cozy Night In bundle, a candle, mug and a print, and buy them for £10 less than you would individually. You're still making a deal, but you're increasing your average order value at the same time. So it's win-win. Number 3 is free shipping instead of discounting your products. So you can offer free shipping when someone spends over a certain amount, maybe £30, £40, £50, whatever makes sense for your margins. This encourages people to add more to their cart so that they hit a certain threshold, which means that you're making more per order without dropping your prices at all. And psychologically, people love free shipping. It feels like they're getting extra, even though it's just built into the cost of your pricing structure and the products that you're making. Number 4 is exclusive drops if you've got an email list. And honestly, if you don't, go back and listen to the other episodes of my podcast, because email marketing is golden. You can create urgency by giving subscribers first dibs on new products. You might say, new collection drops Friday, but my email subscribers get 24-hour early access starting Thursday. No discount is needed, just the feeling of being part of the inner circle, of getting something before everyone else. That exclusivity is its own kind of value. And number 5 is behind the scenes content. This builds anticipation. Sometimes urgency isn't about a deadline at all, it's about desire. If you're sharing the process of creating a new product, showing the sketches, the prototypes, the story behind what you've made, you're building emotional connection. And when people feel connected to your work, they want to buy it. Not because it's on sale, but because they've been on the journey with you. So those are just a few alternatives, and the thing that they all have in common is that they respect your pricing. They add value rather than taking it away, and they create excitement without relying on discounts. Okay, so we've talked about the problems with reactive discounting, when discounting can work, and what you can do instead. But now I want to address the elephant in the room. When sales are slow, the first thing we tend to blame is our pricing. We think it must be too expensive, people don't think it's worth it, I need to make it cheaper. But here's what I've learned, both in my own business and working with my clients. Most of the time, sales that are slow has nothing to do with your pricing. Most of the time, it's one of 3 things: visibility, clarity, or offer mismatch. Let me break these down. Visibility. If people don't know you exist, they can't buy from you. It's that simple. And I'm not saying you need to go viral or have thousands of followers, but I am saying that you need to be showing up somewhere consistently in a way that lets your ideal customers find you. Maybe that's Pinterest, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's blogging or email marketing, or even just being really active in a specific online community. The point is, if your sales are slow, the first question to ask isn't, should I lower my prices? It's, am I visible enough? Am I getting in front of enough people, in front of the right people? And if the answer is no, that's okay. That's just your starting point. Then there's clarity, which you could also call messaging. Are people landing on your shop or website and immediately understanding what you sell, who it's for, and why they should buy it? Or are they confused? You might have beautiful products, lovely branding, but the messaging is vague. The product descriptions are generic and there's no clear call to action. And people browse, they might like what they see, but they don't actually buy because they're not quite sure if it's for them. And if your sales are slow, Take a really honest look at your shop. Would you buy from you based on what you see? Is it clear what makes your product special? Is it easy to check out? Are you telling people what to do next? Sometimes a few tweaks of your copy or your layout can make a massive difference to your conversion rate. And that has nothing to do with your pricing. And lastly, if there's an offer mismatch, this is when you're making something you love, but your audience isn't actually asking for it. Or maybe you're targeting the wrong audience altogether. This one's harder to face because it means stepping back and asking, is this product actually solving a problem or fulfilling a desire for my ideal customer? Or am I just making it because I want to? And there's nothing wrong with making things you love, but if you're trying to run a business, at some point you need to make sure that there's demand for what you're offering. If sales are slow, it might be worth testing out a few different products or surveying your audience to see what they're actually looking for. So before you drop your prices, ask yourself, is this really a pricing issue? Or is it visibility, messaging, or offer mismatch? Because 9 times out of 10, one of those things will move the needle more than a discount ever could. So I was talking to one of my coaching clients recently, which actually gave me the idea for this episode, who has been selling stickers, key rings, and other small items for a few years now. But even with a lot of effort, the sales just weren't adding up. Understandably, they wanted to move to more high-ticket handmade items. But pricing their time and materials felt a bit tricky. And it reminded me of my own journey figuring this out. And I realized that so many creative business owners are stuck in this same cycle. And that is why I have put together a free masterclass on how to stop leaking profit, how to plan your year and make intentional pricing decisions. Most creatives work incredibly hard. They make beautiful things and show up online, but the profit still doesn't match the effort. And when I realized why this happens and how simple the fix actually is, it really changed my business, and that is exactly what I'm going to walk you through in this class. You can sign up at profitmasterclass.mycreativehub.io. I'll leave the link in the description below, but that's profitmasterclass.mycreativehub.io. So to bring this all together, if sales are slow, take a deep breath before you drop your prices and ask yourself, what is really going on? Is it visibility, clarity, timing? Because more often than not, the answer isn't a discount. It's showing up more consistently in a strategic way, communicating more clearly, or tweaking your offer to best fit what your audience actually wants. And if you do decide to run a discount, make sure it's strategic. Make sure you've done the maths. Make sure you're not training your customers to only buy when things are on sale. Your work is valuable and your time is valuable, and you deserve to build a business that reflects that, not one that's constantly undercharging just to feel like you're making progress. And if this has resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment if you're watching on YouTube and let me know your biggest takeaway. Make sure you sign up to that free masterclass. It will be so valuable to you, and I can't wait to see you there. I shall speak to you next Tuesday.